Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to showcase you the most legendary crash out you might have ever seen. Now, this one breaks my heart because it's Mujin. And Mujin was a guy who I used to be friends with until he publicly disavowed me by lying on my name multiple times and saying that he reviewed information that was actually non-existent. Mujin reviewed a document made by Misuse and deemed that a trustworthy source and wouldn't wait till real records came out. And so he threw the baby out with the bathwater and completely backstabbed me, which is a shame because Mujin reached out to me, asked for a collab, and I approved it, and we were good ever since. But, you know, what can you say about fair weather friends? They throw you away the moment there's even a smell of controversy, and I'm not really surprised. And it's a shame because I used to really like Mujin. I used to really think his videos were great, but over the past year or two, I'm noticing a pattern that he doesn't really do as much research as I thought he did. And his ego is very fragile. Now, I want to talk about this video, and I want to talk about what happened on Twitter, but this might be the most uncomfortable crash out I have ever seen in my entire life. And I shit you not, Mujin went on Twitter and berated a woman because she wasn't pretending to be sexually assaulted or sexually harassed. This is one of the most uncomfortable things I have ever seen. And I have never seen someone yell at someone because they weren't convinced they were a victim. This shit is weird as fuck. So, in case you don't know, let me give you some context. So, what had happened was a lot of VTubers are coming out and showing innocent, harmless messages or conversations they started with Syuno, claiming how they're victims, how this made them so uncomfortable, even though they engaged the conversations. And so Powder, like Powder often does, says, hey guys, I was in the same situation and I was fine. Let me read you this. Let's talk about it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're new here. Can you criticize him for cheating? Absolutely, but never once did I feel manipulated by this dude. He's a huge flirt, but I was incredibly aware of the tower dynamic. Also, he was just friendly. Also saw some people throwing around the word predator around. I think that's unreasonable. I'm not gonna sit here and cry and pretend like I'm a victim. It's very obvious to tell what his intentions were because I'm not retarded. And well, Mujin, for some reason, this is a very normal thing, by the way. Mujin freaked the f out and made one of the most uncomfortable posts I've ever seen that got triple ratioed in 3 hours. Mujin decides to quote retweet Powder in a mocking fashion, by the way, because this woman didn't want to paint herself a victim because she wasn't one. This is absolutely out of control. So Mujin is claiming that Powder is some grifting female hater who's also a female. Most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen is and by the way, Mujin, you talk about power dynamics. Now you have a smaller content creator expressing her point of view, and then you specifically abuse your power dynamic, saying, I'm gonna use my channel and my influence, my massive influence that completely dwarfs their channel. Let's pull up some facts. So we have a small YouTuber who gets 24,000 views, 47,000 views, 37,000 views every couple months, with a guy who gets millions of views every single time he posts anything that everybody believes without any checking of themselves at all. Even though multiple of these videos have been completely debunked in the past year, the content has completely fallen off in the past year, completely debunked. And now you are threatening her by saying you are going to make a massive expose because she dated a black guy? Not really a good look for this guy who claims that he is morally virtuous and is so on the woman's side, yet the moment a woman speaks out against him, she's a misogynist, and now you're gonna use your massive reach and influence to ruin her life. Not gonna lie, not a good look here. Goes even further. Also, English is my first language, and I have no idea that predator can mean a person or organization that uses weaker people for their own advantage. Intentionally claiming and using negligence, unintentional negligence. You think these people don't know and what you did by calling Syuno a predator? You have ruined his life forever. You ruined his life forever. Forever. You have completely eviscerated this man's life by labeling him something that he's not. And you know what you're doing. And there's no way anybody who speaks English is like, oh, predator. Oh, that's not really that big of a deal. No, predator is a be-all, end-all, to quote XQC, late game term that you call fucking criminals. Predator can even mean rapist. And you are calling this man a predator. He's not. And you know what you're doing. And claiming that you use the weakest, most innocent version. Anybody with an IQ above 67 knows that a predator is a word you do not throw around. It's a predator. It's not a word you throw around lackadaisically. And last time I checked, you're not Somalian, so I know your IQ is above 67. Final one. But it's okay. My audience gobbles up anything I say anyway, dumbass simps, claiming that this woman can only get views by pandering to simps. Which, by the way, Powder is one of the few VTuber models, and I'm going to show this. Powder is one of the few VTuber models that doesn't even abuse massive, giant, fat titties. It just looks like a little elf girl with a Viking helmet on. So I don't know why we're claiming that we're just goon baiting and simp farming, but this response is terrible. And by the way, if you think I'm the only person who has this opinion, do you see all these tabs on the top right that say X on them? This isn't porn. These are all the other content creators who have spoken out in disgust of Mujin's actions here. And Mujin is a guy who needs to understand the power dynamic. Mujin, you have the power to cancel anybody on the internet. You have ruined many people's lives. Some deserve, some not. You gave me a lot of shit for something that I didn't even do. You said you read everything that was available when nothing was available. And you just lied on my name after everything I've done for you, which is psychotic. And you know what's crazy? I haven't even blocked you on Twitter because I'm hoping you'll come to your senses and maybe you'll apologize to me. And I'll never mention you again, hoping for an apology. And that's okay. Let's keep going here. We have Kirsha weighing in by giving him the ticking time clock. After this, I'm going to be real. I believe that the Mujin document and the Mujin Google Doc will become very apparent. And I do believe that Mujin, when he panders to mindless drones that gobble up everything he says, a lot of shit's going to come out about him. I'm sorry, guys. I don't trust faceless VTubers. I don't. Legal Mindset says, I used to perceive, and this is a lawyer, by the way, I used to perceive Mujin as professional, but he's lost that in his handling of the Syuno situation and Crash Out. Now downplaying the seriousness of labeling someone a predator by presenting the mild definition is hard cope. Everyone knows the real implication behind it. Very true. That's what a lawyer thinks. Speaking of lawyers, I spoke to a lawyer, and they believe that Mujin's video, if not retracted and adjusted, can open him up to a case of defamation because you are calling someone a predator who clearly is not. There's more. Mizudamari Puddle Yokai says, this is amazing. Mujin openly admitted to coordinating a hit piece with a crazy BPD girl who still wants to sleep with the predator instead of him. And now this meager reputation is crumbling around him. He's just lashing out at anyone he can to desperately try and get a W. What's the saying? No pussy? Nah. I've seen what pussy does to a man, and I don't want none of that. You can keep up this bullshit excuse, by the way, that predator means other things, but by the definition you invented for it, you're preying on the victims yourself. You should probably course correct on that soon. Very true. Very true. Another one. Can't wait for the Mujin doc to drop. True. Legal Mindset. A lawyer weighs in again. The male simp collaborators pushing Me Too narrative types like Mujin don't realize that the people they are allying with bear no loyalty. True. Disdain the male gender as a whole and won't wait to throw him under the bus for a shred of clout. And that is the goddamn truth. Lamau, a joke about Mujin. Dear period cramps. Leave her alone. Sorry you had to see that, ladies. I just get so passionate about feminism. Yes, It is very obvious that Mujin is completely pussy crazy, trying to protect and be the defender of these e-girls. And in the end, he's completely obliterating his own credibility, which means every single video that comes after, people are going to take with a grain of salt. Guys, I'm not going to lie. Mujin's video on Syuno is the most disliked video of all time in the history of his channel. And I'm going to show you this with facts. This new video, while getting 73,000 likes, also got 7,000 dislikes. This is a 10% dislike ratio, the highest ever on any of Mujin's videos, because usually people mindlessly accept everything he says. But now, because of this, everything that he says going forward is going to be taken with a grain of salt, because there is now not one, not two, not three, but 5 different instances of Mujin talking about something like he knows something when he doesn't. All of this over getting some e-pussy. Well, in that case, notorious predator Mujin crashes out after his recent hit piece is met with massive criticism after being placed under scrutiny. People have noticed how his predatory behavior has ruined the reputation of many. Is this the end of this predator? Mujin, by your own logic, you would be a predator, preying victim on Powder, because she's a smaller content creator than you, and you are taking advantage of that fact, trying to bully her into silence. So by your own definition, Mujin, you are now a predator. Really not a good look, and you need to understand what your actions are causing. I look forward to an apology soon, unless you're gonna double down and go in on everybody. Take out your aggression on another harmless individual. Mujin is crashing out. Everyone knows that when it comes to YouTube and it's canceling people. When people say the person is a predator, everyone instinctively knows it's referring to an individual that's taking advantage of children. True. Mujin wanted to use the word predator to mislead people into believing that Syuno was trying to manipulate children for sexual reasons. True. In reality, this wasn't the case. All of the victims were adults. Now, when he gets backlash, he hides behind a technicality and goes, but actually predator means taking advantage of people. Obviously, calling someone a predator, then letting the viewers assume the worst case scenario is better than simply calling Syuno a cheater. And all of this was for the sakes of clicks. Scummy, cheating e-boy wouldn't have gotten as much attention, so you had to participate with Mal in escalating it, adding crap like dangerous predator and evil manipulator. True. I'm going to laugh when a woman inevitably comes forward and accuses him of being a predator. True. Damn, I bet Mujin is a feminist who respects all women until they have a different opinion than him. What is this? Exactly. Another one, crashing out. He made a biased video. Everyone saw it. This isn't the first time that you've been biased. Mal was upset she wasn't the only girl that Syuno DM'd. As for the actual victim, his girlfriend, did any of you ask her if she wanted this made public? True. Never have I seen a man lack so much self-worth barely 4 months into the year. You'd rather be the lapdog of your own downtown slumlord hooker than get a real job. Now I know you're dating these girls. Frankly, they can do better than dating a drama slop tuber. Mujin's crash out has been delicious to watch. Why be credible and have some journalistic integrity when you can just be first? Mujin, probably. Could it be that you're retarded? Holy crash out, dude. Are you being serious? You skipped looking at replies under Mujin's tweet and people shitting on him. I'll pull it up right now. We'll read that at the end. All she said was, yes, he's a cheater and that deserves criticism, but no, she personally didn't feel manipulated, and calling him a predator might be taking it a bit too far. That's not excusing him of being a cheater. People can have opinions on how you handle the situation. Also, fantasizing about making some hit piece exposing someone's relation because they make edgy jokes online, what the f? That's real weird. Someone clearly can't take up any type of critique without crashing out. You really are an unreliable narrator. Very true. Dickers points out that Mujin wants to make it seem like he is less involved in the allegations against Syuno by unfollowing the accusers before screenshotting. The doc Mujin shows is named Exposing Syuno, but the doc publicly shared is copy of Exposing Syuno.
And he didn't follow her back? I'm telling you. Through the course of this drama, there is an effort for Mujin to portray himself as if these guys are like totally independent and he's just commenting on the fucking story. Counterpose, okay? So me and Mujin have been friends and it's been one of my confidants this entire time.
Yep.
But he doesn't acknowledge that he had a big hand in that Twitter document. He doesn't acknowledge that he's like helped with the drama behind the scenes, and he's pretending as though he doesn't follow her on Twitter. Okay, buddy. All right, man.
Now, that's completely fine to help people behind the scenes. But when you're making a post like that and you're acting like it's from an unbiased perspective, that is fraudulently disingenuous. It's very important to acknowledge what you've done before making an expose on that and declaring your bias. I do that every video. Like I said, Mujin is not a good person, as evident by his disgusting, sarcastic post against Powder that is filled with pure ad hominem smear, complete with actual racist relationship angle that especially comes off as fetishizing, creepy, and irrelevant to the core drama. True. It's almost always the case that men who proclaim their defense of women and those who shout lack of racism are some of the most racist and sexist people in the world. This post is one of the purest form of that evidence, attacking a female CC in a way that absolutely atrocious. That shit was weird as fuck. So, the next time you end up encountering one of these left-coded male feminist types, just beware, they're willing to go scorched earth just to maintain their ego. Very true. Elf and Psyop seem to have done some damage to Mujin's psyche. Very true. Mujin actively destroying his reputation for clicks. It's insane. Destiny perfectly summarized the Syuno drama. Now, this is Destiny. Kind of a weird guy, but I'm willing to hear him out. Let's hear it.
Does the whole drama boil down to him cheating? Is this literally it? Yes. The problem is well, kind of, but not really. The problem is that the girl didn't get him in the end. If Syuno would have agreed to date her, then nothing would have been written. It would have been fine.
Absolutely fucking truth. Truth nuke. Destiny goes in again. Once again, everybody's been saying this. It's nice hearing this from another person.
All of this can be explained in 20 seconds of the video between that one girl and Syuno. It can all be explained in 20 seconds. And it's the idea that if they don't get what they want in the end, then they can flip it onto the guy who's being an abuser. One of the huge paradigm shifts that needs to happen, in that, you can read it in the very beginning of this girl's thing. Here's a huge paradigm shift that needs to happen. It'll never happen. I've given up on society. I don't give a fuck about anything. Okay? But this is what needs to happen. But it won't happen, okay? When a woman says to you, there's this guy, and I really like him, but the thing is, he'll only hang out with me when I guarantee him sex. Every single time that story is presented in left spaces, it's seen as the guy manipulating the woman, but that is 100% a two-way street.
Yep.
But if you would even imply the opposite, people lose their mind. Because you could very easily flip that to, there's this girl, and I don't know how I feel about her. I don't think I would date her or whatever, but she keeps saying she wants to f me every single time she has to hang out. So like, you're manipulating him just as much as he's manipulating you.
True.
The only difference, though, is that if things don't work out in the end, for the girl, she can write a giant doc on the dude to try to get him destroyed because he didn't date her in the end. It's just...
We see this story far too often. You watch the streams, clearly the woman is madly in love with the man. The man moves on, realizes the woman isn't good for him. And then the woman says, I love you. Please be with me. I want to have your kids. I want to marry you. And the guy says, I just don't think it would work out. Sorry, no hard feelings, but I'm gonna look for a woman that I actually think I'm compatible with. No, you can't. If I can't have him, nobody can. He's going after a new girl. He's a rapist. He's an abuser. He's a manipulator. He's a predator. Please, he has to be alone, because if I can't have him, nobody can. A tale as old as time. And we see it over and over and over and over and over. Guys, type 1 if you've seen that happen 5 times in the past year. Syuno was living with his girlfriend, who he struggled to actually break up with, even though the relationship was already dead. He didn't initially tell people who were highly interested in him and actively seeking him out. A ton of people wanted to sleep with him and apparently wanted to move in after a day or two of talking. He cheated on said girlfriend. From what Syuno said himself, the voice call was basically girlfriend in name only. The accuser still wants a relationship with him afterwards, but got cut out of his life. And then came the very coordinated effort to turn into a full headpiece against him. True. So Syuno is a cheater and a player. He flirted with a girl and got consenting adults. But he was living with his kind of sort of girlfriend and didn't disclose it, which is nasty. He's an asshole, but calling him dangerous or a predator is a straight up defamatory statement. That word is heavily associated with pedophiles in everyone's mind and feels like an intentional buzzword to sensationalize this and do maximum damage, rather than an actual honest take from the heart. What seems to me should be the takeaway. The VTuber space needs to chill on being horny 24/7. True. We gotta stop ripping off our clothes and engage with what we barely know. Streamers in general need to be more professional and be way more skeptical of other content creators in general. When money and fame are involved, people, women included, are willing to accept, even participate in some wildly sketchy shit because it'll be beneficial. I've seen so much diabolical shit from women and men in this space over the past 5 years, all in the name of pride, greed, lust, envy, etc. It's not even funny. Tons of streamers do predatory shit. Some of it gets condemned, but the vast majority gets accepted, rewarded, and fiercely defended. Also, big streamers almost never lift up smaller ones, except for me. That's all I do. So when a massive creator comes at you, bells should be ringing immediately. The VTuber space is an incredibly predatory space. Entire careers are built on inherently predatory dynamics for money and clout. The problem here is that he cheated on a girlfriend he didn't have the balls to break up with and wasn't completely honest with the girls who were serious and invested in the situation. Motive seemed lustful in nature, which is something we see everywhere, especially the VTuber scene, from a lot of women as well. Seems he wasn't coming from a space of romantic interest, it was just some lust from everyone all around him. He's an asshole and a player, not a pedophile, not a rapist. He's an ass and wrong for what he did, but he doesn't seem to be the only one in the wrong. His girlfriend is the clear victim here. However, tons of streamers, women and men, are nasty and predatory. It should all be taken seriously, but it never ever is and likely never will be. Big truth nuke. Big truth galaxy nuke. Zach, it's obvious he backhand channeled with the victims. That's not a bad thing, IMO. I absolutely agree, as long as you disclose that in your hit pieces. It's also obvious that while Syuno is an obvious fuckboy, he was also obviously not a predator. I wish adult women would stop using the word predator to describe unfaithful guys. It waters down the word. Absolutely. Every woman who fucked this dude knew he had side chicks. They gaslit them into thinking he would be the one. Women do this all the time with semi-famous or famous guys on stream or on Instagram, then cry the minute they realize he isn't going to commit to them. True. The problem is they do more than cry. They get angry that they aren't picked as the one generate Google Doc or run their favorite simp ally, Mujin, for a coordinated hit piece documentary that borders on defamation. This is what a lawyer thinks, bordering on defamation. Syuno's Discord server just got nuked. End of an era. By the way, a lot of us have moved on to another server. Let me know if you want to join. Here's the comments. The amount of buzzwords in this puke of a tweet just to describe what it comes down to. The simple word cheater is hilarious. W powder. A woman didn't step in line. Better drop the simp card. There it is. Rev says Desu says what? Azahara. I had no viewers whatsoever and became desperate after trying everything to be relevant. You just tried to shit on another content creator by colluding with one of the worst Google Docs ever created, and you did this because you wanted to have the exclusivity for views. What did this girl promise you that you seem to be willing to ruin your reputation for? All of these spurgouts really make you look like a condescending No, it makes him look like a predator. And if Mujin is so comfortable with calling people a predator and saying it's not a big deal, well, guess what the title of this video is? You say it's fair game to call someone a predator, then take your own advice. Mujin, I guess you will now, from this point forward and forever be known, you're a predator because you went on Powder knowing that she's a smaller content creator and you preyed victim on her. Pathetic, disgusting, and learn. Mujin, you used to be the fucking man. I don't know what's going on this past year, but you've turned on so many people who have had your back just in pursuit of e-girl pussy. And that shit is pathetic. And when the Google Doc comes on you and you see all these people who say they're your friends, they're all going to turn their back on you. And the ones who would have had your back, you stabbed in the back. And you know that's the goddamn truth. And that's a goddamn shame. May God have mercy on your soul. And Mujin, please get better. Go to therapy or something, man. That behavior is unwell.